Hello, my human family. Not going to do too much of an introduction here. This is someone I've known for a couple of years before either of us came out. Um, the and at some point I thought she was out already. It's one of those strange things. And she hadn't come out yet at all. But it's
I
been
guess
has
I
been
gave off some real big vibes. Like it happens. I don't
it,
know.
it absolutely happens. Um the been want to talk somewhat been through some of the trans ringer already, uh and hopefully everything is better now, but I wanted to hit on some of that. And so we have Shea, who is part of trans. I'm not gonna say the name right. I know it.
It's really hard kind of to pronounce. It's Transgardr, and I think even I mispronounce it just a little bit. Callan is really good with like Old Norse and stuff, so like of course there's a little bit of that thrown in there, and like
Thought
it's
I thought it was
Garter.
named. I swear I thought it was named after her snake.
Uh, Skinna. No, it's not named after
Yes.
Skinna. But yeah, I guess that's a good segue to like talk about what Transgarter is.
Yeah.
As I'm sure you're fairly aware, there's a lot of like the atheist community's been very unfriendly to like trans people and all that stuff, especially with like people like Anti Ordinary, who isn't really around anymore because she got demonetized and quit, and Sarah Michelle or Sarah Michael. I don't
Yeah. No one knows.
know which. Yeah, everybody tends to like get the last name wrong, but like I don't remember which one it is. It's either yeah, they are the Blair Whites of the atheist community. They seem to, for whatever reason,
Yeah.
kind of like be a voice in this community for like people like us, but at the same time they're out there saying like non-binary people are delusional, blah blah blah. And then of course some of Callan's like respective like religious communities like seem to have like that same issue. So we thought like it
Yes.
would be great to like build a welcoming like and open environment for like trans people and allies uh, that wouldn't be so yikesy, that is open to non-binary people as well, and we just want to support each other. Like
Oh.
the best thing that we can do is like have a little solidarity and give everybody a voice, and that's what we're doing. We've even had you on an interview. You're the first interview, by the way.
Yes. Thank you.
Super honored to be here. Super honored to have you on Transgarter.
I was thrilled to be there. You know I'd do anything for you. That's uh, kind of where we'll talk about that in a second. But the, um, since I totally forgot to mention, I might as well mention it on air. The other show I do, the fluid voice. Yeah, it's the fluid voice. I was getting. See, even I get it wrong.
It's all
Uh,
good. It happens.
um, at one point I'd asked about being sister shows, and you got approval from the committee over there. So
Yeah, I
it
did get
was
approval from Callan. We're definitely sister shows. We need to talk to you about how to implement that. So after like this, we should definitely do that.
I think
Because I'm all for it.
I'm for it. Yeah. I talked to I talked to my committee too. I got people to answer to. The hierarchy. I'm second in the hierarchy. It's not like I'm
Hierarchies. Don't go
hierarchy.
away with those. Horizontal structure. Okay, everybody's on equal footing. Everybody gets a voice. Direct democracy. That's how we do this.
Yeah, it's actually I take care of some of the technical stuff, and uh, Asma in the Dark takes care of. She takes care of, well, making sure we get on the air at all. So, because that's a live show as well. I can't stream from here. I do pay for the Zoom though. So,
Yeah. I need to get paid Zoom at some point because like it's gonna make like the whole like 3 people interview streams so much better off. And if we ever want to
yeah.
pull in like a guest for a reaction, like gonna need that extra Zoom abilities. Fucking paywalls. I guess I could use Skype, but like it takes up more bandwidth and like more RAM. So
Yeah. Well, this actually, I paid for it. Um, I had an older version that didn't need to be paid for, even over 40 minutes. So, uh, but I did pay for it. I did subscribe to it voluntarily because I actually was being responsible. I don't like this one.
piracy is praxis if you're taking from a very large corporation.
Yeah, which Zoom isn't. Well, they are now,
Adobe,
but
Adobe, don't fucking pay for Photoshop, okay? Like
I do use Open Office, which is um, now owned by Adobe, but I don't know what they're getting out of it. So,
as long as they're not giving it to you through like a monthly like subscription for
no,
whatever reason, like
no, not at all. And I have. It all depends. What I think about piracy on who's listening,
fair.
which
Like I'm never gonna take like music from like an independent content creator, you know what I mean? Like I'm gonna pay for it. There's one person that I listen to kind of religiously now. Her name is Jane Reynolds. She isn't a well, it's like a one-person band. It's called Virtual Bird, and like
okay.
I bought everything that they have on Bandcamp. Like some of it's like name your price, but I'll still even throw like in a couple of dollars. I bought an album a second time after I used one of her graphics to make myself a T-shirt, which is now the back patch on my vest. And like,
All,
I would love to get them in for an interview sometime because like they've helped me so much. But like, that's
all
running on tangent territory here.
well, just for the record, all of my studio music is or what little there the is on places for free. It's just a
Bandcamp,
matter.
SoundCloud. Bandcamp seems to be the best way to support like independent content creators.
Yeah, Bandcamp's really good. But no, actually, because I'm putting it out for free, and it's not really a model that they like.
Maybe
They're
content creators isn't the right word when I'm thinking of musicians,
yeah,
independent musicians.
yeah. All
You know what I mean?
my music's out there for free all over the place. Um, but it's on two places where you can't pay for it. There is no way to pay for it, and it's at 320. So that's CD quality. So
That's awesome.
again, you just have to find it. um, anyway,
Probably not on Spotify.
no.
Yeah.
So yeah, I because I kind of go with the piracy as practice idea, but I don't say it out loud too often, just because it's slightly easier not to. Uh,
Yeah. I'm I'm less concerned about hiding my radical beliefs. If you notice, I have like a whole rent strike poster right here.
yes, as
So
I do. And we were getting there.
you
Um,
see this vulture? I mean landlord. I mean vulture. I'm like the whole reason I had it there was for a joke. Not really. I just needed something to cover up the white space.
Our we pay very little for this house, and our 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 uh, our landlord is an old family friend, so we're good. uh, it's just
That's
because
like a whole conversation. I just for the record, I'm not saying all landlords are bad, but the systems that like landlords perpetuate aren't really all that great.
yes, you're not going to find a disagreement. I'm you. I always tell me nobody ever believes me that I'm really far left.
No, I believe you. Like I see the circles you roll in. Okay.
I mean, at this point, if having a show with Sophia Botha doesn't tell people I'm radical left, nothing will. um,
I say radical because like equality. What?
yeah, whatever radical idea. Uh, doing things because you think because you're good at them, not because you need to make sure that you people don't starve, and having homelessness, which is ridiculous, which is an insane thing, which I have experienced. And see, I, I'm doing a very smooth transition, which I'm not in any way going to call attention to.
I see what you're doing.
And you have experienced as
But
well.
yeah, so I got recently got kicked out in like early December for basically being trans, which was kind of ridiculous. What happened is that I had already had come out to like my best friend like months before.
Yeah.
Um, I wasn't really out to the boyfriend for like her boyfriend for a while, but I was like living with them after my girlfriend and I broke up, and like finally opened up to the boyfriend about it. I'm not trying to use their names or anything. And then
No,
there was a
don't.
lot of
Yeah,
like
please don't.
make
Actually,
there's a lot of like making fun of me and stuff. And then like the boyfriend got like really yikesy towards me, was doing like a lot of these like kind of abusive things. I confronted Adair about it because like you're making fun of me and talking like crap while I'm asleep. And I'm a very light sleeper. I can hear you. The walls are paper thin. And she kind of got like gaslit me on it. And then eventually, like after coming to her for maybe like the third or fourth time, like she's all like, if you don't like it, you can just get out. And then that caused a bit of an argument. And then yeah, so I had to find a place to go. I moved in
right.
with my mom, and
Yeah,
I already come out to like my mom, and like that was great. She seemed to be very accepting. Like it was awesome. Like nothing really to worry about. I get there though, and like it turned out that wasn't exactly the case. It was definitely more of a performative like acceptance than anything else. Like I told her like I wasn't in a really good place after just getting kicked out for being trans to like want to be open. So like before I got there, she had already told like my sister and my grandma. Good news is they're actually like super accepting and not
yeah.
performatively. So like that was great. But she started doing that to her fiance's family.
Oh,
I
which
didn't know any of them, and like
yeah, not doing that.
mhm. And then
Bad.
to the extended family. Well, my grandfather was in the hospital. He passed away while I was there. Uh, yeah,
Uh,
that's a thing. But yeah, so like we're both already going through a lot. Like she kept doing this. Like I confronted her about it, and then she stopped using my name and kept referring to me by like my dead name. Kept calling me her son. Like, well, like keep telling her that's not the case, and
the
um,
yeah.
it kind of like moved over like with her boyfriend too, and her fiance actually. Her fiance was also kind of an alcoholic, and this was kind of like the last straw for me. Like I needed a roof over my head. I was going to try and deal with it for as much as I can. But
Yeah.
one time before, he had me drive him to his family's house. On the way there, though, he had to stop at a liquor store for something. I didn't know what it was for. He bought like a bunch of alcohol, got like super drunk, and like, I don't want to be your chauffeur if that's like all you're doing. Like he's supposed to quit because if he drinks, he goes on like week-long benders.
Oh, Jesus.
And I told him like if he's gonna do that, I'm not gonna like drive him again. But the second time, like he kept asking me to take him to a bar, and I told him I wouldn't. He gave me a choice, either go home or go to the bar. And I started driving home. And as soon as we pop into the neighborhood, he puts his hand on the steering wheel, drives us into a ditch. I get us out. Then he starts messing with the, like the stick, and like almost blew out the engine. And then kept threatening to beat me up. Then I went over to grandma's, and because she's a foster
As you
parent,
would.
I couldn't like exactly stay there because like there's a whole process for anybody to like live in like the house. I went to a shelter, and I was there for a couple of weeks. That was not fun.
No.
There was an aspiring Christian apologist there who kept calling me out for like being me. Used me as an example to call out degeneracy.
No.
I was definitely proud degenerate. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say, degeneracy is not an insult if you own it.
I mean, true, but like in that setting, it wasn't really all that great. Like,
no,
I flipped that switch from like wanting. It took like a couple of days of being there, but like, and I think I even like put a post on it, wrote a post about it on Twitter. Like, you know what? I've been hiding it for a couple of weeks after all like the bad shit that's happening. Like, I'm taking hormones. I can't hide this for long. Like, I'm just gonna like fucking be open about it. Like, the people had to find out before I got in there anyway, despite the fact that they still put me in the men's area. But like, fuck it. So I started dressing femininely, and then I became a target. So there was like a lot of abuse and stuff, like coming from like mostly that guy specifically, like people chuckling or whatever. Which I can handle chuckles, but like getting called out, like surrounded by a bunch of people, and then like getting a slur or two like thrown at you, and then like being used as an example for like the downfall of society, and like the second coming of Sodom and Gomorrah or whatever. Like, no, fuck that shit. And Cyrus made a video about like my whole situation, like,
right.
And he got together with a friend of his. He goes by Glitch, and I've been living with him ever since. Now, granted, I wasn't really homeless for very long. I was about at the shelter for about 2 weeks, and staying with my mom for about a couple of weeks. Even so, that being the case, like, I've dealt with housing instability ever since I turned 18. Like, I got kicked out for my birthday right at the beginning of like my senior year in high school, and then I couch hopped for like a long time. I've been in like multiple different shelters. I've been across like the East Coast, West Coast.
Yeah, I'm East Coast, you West Coaster.
This is the only like short period of homelessness that was like related to me being trans.
Well, yeah, I get it. Mine was related to LGBT issues from my now infamous. It's probably the most I've talked to about him is on air. Nazi stepfather.
Oh God.
The
Yikes! Nazi punks, fuck off. Okay.
Nazi punks, fuck off. Yeah. Trust me, after this, I'm going to be listening to that really loud. I often listen to an anti-Nazi something when I mention
Dead
him.
Kennedys is always extremely cathartic.
And good practices.
Oh yes.
The
especially when everybody else can hear it.
yeah, the um the homeless the problem with I do not understand how there is not some kind of provision made in most states about um dealing with trans people in shelters, because the trans people are likely
Because
to, I mean, not likely, but more so than the general population. We in New York we have a fairly good system, but I'm told that it's not as good as it's supposed to be, as it sounds. And unfortunately, Salvation Army deals with a lot of it, and they've let people freeze to death before. So
that's fucked.
yeah,
God. Yeah, no, I'm not sure if you're aware. Like Trump has been like systemically like removing protections for trans people since like he got in office.
yep,
Shelters are one of them because there used to be like some protection for like trans people that they couldn't get kicked out just for being trans. However, that's not the case anymore. So
right,
and even then, that wasn't like like a completely like a national thing. You just couldn't get kicked out. There wasn't any like other provisions on like the national level. States have always like written their own rules, and other states are like a lot more yagsy than others. Usually, just like in my case, they'll force you to go into like the general male population, or they'll just won't fucking let you in, which is 10 times worse, especially when it's like 20, 30 degrees outside. That
yeah,
was a big worry because it was like the dead of winter, and in Tucson, like we have two extremes there: below freezing and hot as fuck. So like,
yeah. The At least you're not there anymore. Have you? I was gonna ask a question that is none of my business, so I'm moving on.
you can ask if you want.
I was gonna ask. Uh, I'll ask it a little differently. How's that?
Sure.
What
Like, yeah, I'm an open book. It doesn't bother me. If I have a problem with the question, like I'll let you know.
what has your mother said about this since?
We haven't talked. We fought a little bit before like I moved. I went and grabbed like some of my stuff. She tried to claim that like uh some of my things were hers, and like doing that whole drama thing, and I just wasn't having it. And then she proceeded to like continue to misgender me during that like brief period of time before like I moved in with Glitch, and like
The
I'm not doing it. She could come to me when she's ready.
yeah, when the time, I'm gonna say, well, I'm too much of an optimist. If the time is ready, then they'll come to you, or you know,
Yeah, to be
not.
fair though, she's never really been like super present in my life. So like she's an addict, and she got kicked out of the house for using drugs when I was like 3 years old, and continued to go back and forth like with her addiction and in and out of my life ever since. And
Oh,
turns out she relapsed again after I left. So
because yeah, of course. The
well, our grandfather passed away during the same time, so like she was dealing with a lot, but like
yeah, the
it's
some
I have a lot of complicated feelings on it because I'm one of those people that needs to be treated as a mental health thing. Like drugs shouldn't be a crime. Like they should probably be legalized. Do whatever you want as long as you do it safely. But at the same time, like it's complicated.
I'm, I'm a recovered alcoholic that spends most of my time. It spends most of my working life in bars. So you know, so uh, I I get you. Because yeah, and I was the asshole in that case. So the not to call your mother an asshole, but
I mean, she kind of is. I got no problem saying
okay.
that.
All right.
But this isn't shit on my parents' hour.
No. I know. I don't want to do. I don't want to do that. It's not for
Yeah.
you. You have to eventually make. You have to make your own judgments whether you want to repair or not.
Honestly, this is like a good chance to like make some sort of statement though. Like, hands down, I did not receive the worst of it. You know, there are a
Right.
lot of people that go through so much worse. Like, they'll get physically beaten. They'll get thrown on the streets during the winter. They'll have absolutely nowhere to go. You know, I was dealt with some shit, but I was lucky. And honestly, like,
Well,
I want to get involved in some direct action that will lead to change and like make things like better for like the trans community. If I knew where to go, then yes. If I had more experience organizing these kinds of things, I would do it. But I've got a lot to learn before I can get there.
you'll get there. Create a network is pretty much what you need to do. When I mean,
Like, we're doing a little bit of that, like with the Transgardr. Like, you know, we're building like a community and a support network for like trans people that are dealing with a lot of stuff. We have
yeah,
people in there that like are like recently come out and like their significant other maybe like wasn't like completely aware of things. Like, we talk to each other about like experiences with like dysphoria, and we do our best to help each other out. Like, it's very
it's very.
I'm not finding the words, but like, as a community, we help each other out. It's not like a very big community or anything, but like, we're all there for each other. And like,
No, no. I'm getting you. I've this. I always feel. I this is the one of the not great things I can say, but I actually I felt so guilty that I couldn't help, that I couldn't find the resources for you at the time.
are you kidding? Like, you helped me out so much. I'm pretty sure I used some of the resources you gave me while I was in Tucson. And like, you called Planned Parenthood to double check for me on whether or not they like provided trans health care, because I was like super scared that I wasn't gonna be able to get my hormones.
Yeah.
Like, like, no, you did so much, and like, I'm extremely grateful for everything that you did.
Well, sir has stuck the landing for you, so that's more what I mean.
Yeah, he had something in the works, and like, I owe Glitch just as much as I do Cirrus, and like, I love them both for it.
Yeah. And the in general to get a network together and to have people in try to have people in every state where you or know people who know other people in regions where you don't live, or have people. That's pretty much all you need to do. It's a network thing. It's just
So the good news is, I did get involved in a lot of like local activism, like here in the metropolitan like Phoenix area. We've been like jumping from like, you know, that's the cities that are like in Phoenix, and working with a lot of like the shelterless community out here.
oh, that is good.
Yeah. I don't want to talk about like too much about like what's going on, because that's generally like frowned upon.
I'm trying to be really careful in the way I ask questions, which is not usually my style, but I understand why you'd have to be careful about what you can answer. So I'm not going to ask you any.
At least when it comes to the local activism, I can't really talk too much about it.
No, as you shouldn't. Other than, if you have.
What I can say is that like, I'm learning a lot how to be a better advocate for people, especially like people with less privileged than me.
Yeah. The
Solidarity, not charity. That's the big thing.
yeah, that's pretty much it. I got lucky in a lot of things too, and when I had to leave home, it was spring, so I was able to sleep rough for a lot of it. You know, so fine, because I didn't trust the shelters, especially back in the early '80s.
Oh yeah, no, I hear that completely. So
But in general, so you started Transgardr, and I'll get it right.
it, yeah, Transgardr. That was all Callan's idea, by the way.
It was.
Yeah, she was the um, the person that decided like that we should try and build a community like for our like respective communities, like a nice, welcome, open place, away from all the like toxicity that seems to exist within the atheist community and sometimes even some with pagan communities. Like,
That's well, yeah.
that's not to say that there weren't like other places out there already, but like just they tend to be outside of like that and more in like strictly like leftist spaces. We wanted to focus more on like where we had more influence, which is why we built Transgardr.
Right. Well, yeah. I got asked to be in Fluid Voice, so I have no idea. I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm contributing. I believe I am, but the
I'm sure you are. Like I've seen a couple of streams. I was also in one of the streams. Like, no, you did great.
oh, I never get
Doing
to
good
see.
things.
I never get to see the stream, so I never get to see the who's there, who's in the audience. It's just the way my system works. My system doesn't work very well. I have an old and dark horse of a computer. It's lugged around with me from house to house for many years. The Yeah, the one thing a lot of people don't understand is the difference between homeless and shelterlessness, which is a big thing.
Yeah, there definitely is like a distinction to be made. Yeah, homeless people tend to still like be in shelters, or maybe like they're staying somewhere that like they can't put on an address, like they're crashing on somebody's couch, that kind of thing. I guess under like the couch definition, technically I'm still kind of homeless, but like I'm paying rent here too, so I don't see it that way.
Yeah,
Shelterless people, on the other hand, tend to sleep on the streets. Maybe they're like at a part of town where there's like a big tent city type of deal. Um, it's usually a lot harder for like shelterless people than people that like tend to have shelter.
yeah,
And like a lot of people will think like it's because of like drug use or like crimes and stuff. Often that doesn't seem to be the case. Like a lot of the time they'll overstay like their time at a shelter and get kicked out because they've been there for too long. But the reason why that would happen is because like maybe they have like untreated mental health issues and like can't get like covered through insurance, or maybe like they're physically disabled and can't get a job. And like of course like the disability money you get isn't enough to like pay rent, especially when a studio costs $800 a month. Like
the yeah the tricky part also has to do with a lot of the shelters are religious, which you have to deal with their rules on that level. And as I
oh yeah,
say,
no. I stayed at a shelter in Spokane, Washington, for like a brief period of time. And they forced me to go to church 3 times a day and look for a job at the same time. Like,
the
I'm sorry, like I can't leave for a couple hours, come back for church, and then leave for a couple more hours just to come back to church. I need to be out here all day, like filling out applications and going into places and like talking to the managers. All right, like
yeah, and getting disability anywhere, even in a good state, is difficult enough. usually I can speak to my experience. I had to no, I only got rejected once. People were surprised by that. So, and then I got it on the second try. The what what else is the trans experience been like for you? I mean, it's been new.
Well, yeah, no, this is like super new to me. Maybe I've been out for like a year. I repressed a lot of things, and I was in denial for the longest time, despite all the signs from like being in like that. Like I can peace out now that like I'm open to it.
Yeah.
You know, like ever since like a young age, like pretending to be like Sailor Moon and like little pretend games, then getting scolded by my dad about that, or wanting to be a Powerpuff Girl for Halloween. Being in
Interesting.
high school and wearing like strictly feminine clothes, like skinny jeans and like girl sweatshirts, and then saying that I'm a lesbian trapped in a man's body, which
It's kind of an icky term, but I get it because people
it was high school. Everybody says dumb things in high school, right? Like I'm
no,
not saying I'm proud of it.
My big problem with it back then was, but I am. um, and yeah, as someone who's been, I was out of the closet for a while in my teens, and then I jumped back in during AIDS, so I'm old too. Which,
Yeah,
you know,
that's not to say.
I'm,
Yeah, that was kind of a weird time. That's not to say that I haven't dealt with like shit. You know, like we just talked about like me being in the shelter and like what that was like,
yeah,
being out. You know, and I'm not comfortable like coming out at work completely. Like I've talked to the HR department about it before I talk to anybody else.
well, that's what
Just
you're
to make
supposed to.
sure that I wouldn't get fired. You know, just
Well, Arizona
like
doesn't.
there's so many things that I have to worry about. There's a gas station that I go to, like fully dressed up and like presenting femininely and stuff, and like they're really good with like pronouns and stuff. I wear my vest usually, and I have a pin that says like she, her, hers on it, and
Yeah,
that kind of thing. So
I,
people
I
tend
don't
to see
have
that, and it's great.
I don't have anything like that, like on my purse or something.
Yeah, that doesn't
Just
that isn't to say that I haven't run into. I love that. That isn't to say I haven't run into yikesy individuals at all, because like just the other day on the bus, some coward called me a T-slur while they were like leaving, and I'm like, you're just gonna wait till you leave? You're not even gonna let me rebut? Like, this isn't a game you want to play, all right? I'm a fucking bitch if I want
well,
to be.
trans people my age were supposed to transition and disappear into the woodwork and live the rest of their lives as cis people. The transition ends
Yeah,
for them.
stealthing and how it was originally. My headphones just died. Give
Oh,
me a second, please.
absolutely. Um, I'll actually do I'll do a real quick. I'm still going to be doing the 2 interviews a week for a couple of weeks while I settle everybody that was supposed to be on while I was sick, because I survived this monster.
You and I are still good to go. All I have to do is mute when you're talking, so there's no echo.
Oh, okay. The yeah, I survived this monster. So, but a lot of people that were scheduled didn't get to come on. So, so I'm doing that, and then I'm finally finishing the first reaction to Star Trek: The Original Series thing, because believe it or not, even though I'm old, I didn't really see it. So, so
That's
see.
kind of awesome, though. I'm really looking forward to that. But to those people that like didn't show up for your interviews, like they're missing out. You and I had like a blast before coming, like starting this. You and I talked for like an hour just about like a bunch of random things.
Oh yeah, no, it was me because I was too sick to I defeated the monster that's going about. It's not their fault. I just had to tell everybody I'm not scheduling anybody right now. I ditched the people I had scheduled, um, and you're actually filling in for one who her schedule's just suddenly messed up a little bit. So which is fine. You were going to be on next week anyways.
Honestly, I got kind of lucky to like even be here because like Helen and I were supposed to stream like a response to the like a heck off commie guy, but like we need to do a little bit of strategizing before like we like jump into that stream because I feel like not only like is it very delicate, there's like a lot of points that like you have to hammer on like perfectly, otherwise like what's it called risk putting like the wrong message out there, or like you don't
Yeah.
maybe like what's the word I'm looking for, like debunk things like clearly enough, and then that can end up like poisoning the well as too. But like don't get me wrong, the guy's like super cringe, he's fucking terrible. I'm gonna have a lot of fun dunking on him in the future, but like just need to put that off for a minute.
The reason I never got into reaction videos, and I had started to script a couple of them, but my scripts all just said fuck, and that was pretty much pages of it.
I am 100% there. Like you have no idea. Like these people like piss me off so much. Just like every like fucking angsty take that they like throw out there, I'm like ready to like punch my screen. Okay, like I'm not actually gonna punch my screen. I'm using it metaphorically. But like, I'll sit there and angry laugh because like I'm speechless after like some of the shit that like I hear. Like even when I was doing streams on like my old channel, just like going after like religious bigots, like
Yeah.
I had to like sit there, play the video over a couple of times, like find my talking points, and like practice them before like I jumped on stream to do it. Because like if I didn't, I would just sit there speechless and like because I'm like that heated. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Doyle is a particularly it's funny you were doing that because I was just watching one of his and going, I want to react to this so bad, but again, all I could write down was fuck.
I'm fairly certain we're not the only ones that are like that.
So I figured to go to a happy place. It was the I see the whole idea behind doing the reaction to Star Trek is I see people encountering reactions to things and people encountering things for the first time, and I said I wish there was something that I would really like and that I could react to like that, and having some nostalgia for seeing something for the first time, and I started watching the original series, and I'm like 4 episodes in, and I said, wait, this is what I react to. I've never seen these.
Yeah, whatever you do though, just be careful not to like put too much copyrighted material in there because like then you'll get your channel yeeted and that won't be like fun. And
I have a certain Steve-ish down in the Shire. There's no way I can do this right. Steve and Jesse are helping me, so are gonna be helping here and there a little bit, and
that's awesome.
and a couple other people. So I was trying to figure out some cute way of saying Steve Shives and his 100,000 followers. Guys, sure. No, I love Steve.
I wish I was introduced to Steve like through somebody other than TJ Kirk. Like I'm glad I've moved away from that like weird phase of my life, but like
But it was such a beautiful destruction.
Don't get me wrong, the video was really funny when I watched it as like a stupid, like angry whatever, but like
um,
probably wasn't warranted.
one of our mutual friends, because he put the plaque up on Facebook, he pictured the plaque up on Facebook. Um, uh, just quickly digitally removed the or scribbled over the for gaining 100,000 subscribers, for being destroyed.
I will point this out though, he still does have me blocked on Twitter, but like whatever.
Yeah, we'll talk about that after. That's I even know why.
That's just the general meme, right? He blocks everybody.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we talked about it when he was on here, and even that wasn't the whole story, and unfortunately, yeah, having the long conversations before and after, it's kind of like, oh, okay.
Just in case like the it gets misconstrued or whatever, I don't have any like negative feelings towards Steve Shives. So
No, see, no, and I'm sitting here just joking about it. It's like, this is about you, but why not throw him a bone? He needs something for my 140 or whatever subscribers. But the trends in general. What I mean, you're fairly young. You got to figure it out early. I mean, usually early 30s is a little, seems to be pretty common. Although now, um, younger seems to be as common as well. What finally tipped you?
it was a couple of things that finally like made me realize it. I was going to therapy and I was dealing with a lot of like the trauma stuff that I dealt with growing up, and then like going over like how my dad treated me, whatever, and like realizing that I repressed so much of myself and like just threw myself in denial about like a lot of things. At the same time, I was doing a lot of research. I was going up against like the New Independent Fundamental Baptist on my channel, and another person, name I don't quite remember, but I did do a stream on him. He seems to do a lot of like anti-trans like stuff. He's another religious bigot. I think it's Marcus something.
I
But
don't.
yeah, I don't remember his last name. I'm sure you can look it up and probably have it in my archive or whatever. But like, yeah, Marcus Rogers. That's it.
Okay.
But yeah. So I was doing a lot of like educating myself. I watched a lot of Luxander. Oop, lies. And
Did you say Luxander?
I did say Luxander, and honestly, I like even like made a sock account just to ask for like where I can find resources. So like I didn't like out myself like to everybody, and then like
No, that's a good person. I wish I'd had more non-binary and trans men in my circle early on. So,
during my like whole questioning like phase, like I was assuming non-binary more than anything.
no, I was going for gender fluid, which to me at the time meant I could be trans, and in my my final incarnation, it meant I could be trans and not have to do anything about it, which is the again, once in a while, my brain doesn't like me very much, or that brain didn't like me very much.
That much you're doing great now, and like you always tell me, you smile with your teeth.
I smile with my teeth.
So, like, I'm glad you figured it out. Like, everybody has that questioning phase, though. Like, nothing wrong with like trying on a couple of labels if you have to, just to like figure it out. Like,
Oh yeah. I'm so desperately pan, but so dangerously binary.
exactly.
Right.
No, same.
Or the other way around.
Kind of throw this out there though: MB rights are trans rights, and trans rights are human rights.
Yes, no, I mean, absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Luxander's been an invaluable resource. We have putting our money where our mouth is here. We have a rescue trans here, so, so who is non-binary. So,
but yeah, just to like finish off what I was saying. So it was like a lot of educating. I was watching content creators that were like trans, doing like my own research, debunking these videos. Like I feel like a lot of like the debunking of like people like Marcus Rogers and like the new IFB was like me like trying to find a way to defend who I was without actually coming out. You know what I mean? Like I'm not sure if that like makes sense completely, but like it definitely seemed to come from like almost a sort of like I want to say projection, but I don't think that's the right word. But like I was doing it more for me than anything else, at least at the time.
Yeah, not subconscious. I mean, there's got to be a reason that in my case at least, a substantial portion of the people I sub to and watched regularly came out at some point or another that weren't already out, because I did subscribe to some trans people already.
ContraPoints, by the way, was like my first step into this. Like if I probably would have gone down that like fucking alt-right rabbit hole if it wasn't for ContraPoints and like philosophy too, because like for debunking of people like the Golden One back in the day, because like I was watching during that like whole era. Like there's a lot of criticisms that can be thrown around right now, and they're like completely valid. Don't get me started there. But like you can't say that she hasn't done a lot for helping people discover like who they are, and like for education and like those kind of things, and also just pulling people out of like the fucking rabbit hole. Like
yeah, there was a point during while and where with Natalie, I originally started watching Natalie to keep an eye on somebody that I used to either like have a problem with, under an old channel, under an old name, and I'm not going to say what it is, obviously. But yeah, I used to have a problem with, and then enjoying the content, and then finally going, come out already, and then going, good, you came out. I can start
you mean
not
basically
coming
kind of like
out.
what you did with me. Like as soon as I came out, you were in my comments saying like, I had a feeling you were giving off egg vibes. I'm like, it had to have been me talking about like the denim jacket that I bought, because like I was super excited about it. Like I got it from like a antique shop in their like vintage clothing section. It was like a women's jacket. It helped hide my like arms and stuff, but I wasn't admitting to that or anything. And I was like very adamant that like this is a girl's jacket. I love it. I don't care. It's mine. I'm gonna rock it. Like
it was around the time of the jacket, but I'm not sure if it was the jacket.
I still have the jacket, by the way, but I cut the sleeves off. I put on a bunch of patches. I got a virtual
Yeah.
birth patch, Andrew Jackson Jihad, Wingnut Dishwashers Union, which is Pat the Bunny. I got a couple more patches I could put on there. Bikini Kill, Days and Days, a Pride patch, and then a ton of like leftist buttons.
No, leftist buttons. One should never advertise that being a leftist. You just sneak into the You just sneak in for the kill.
Oh
I'm.
no, I don't. Whatever. Like I go. I go through these like weird stages where like I want to hide everything, and then other times where like I'm super open. I'm gonna talk about like what I believe in. I'm gonna fight for all these things, and then I get like really in myself, and then I'm like, so like it's a weird cycle. But
Well, there'd be there are a fair amount of comorbidities with trans. I mean, I'm bipolar. I'm autistic. You know, that's
yeah, like I'm diagnosed autism. Uh, well, I got diagnosed through the ICD-10, which still has Asperger's, so like technically Asperger's, but like
yeah,
the autism spectrum, like and the DSM-5. So
yeah. I know it's
I re-
still. Oh,
like if
sorry.
sorry about that. Like if I remember my stats correctly, if it's been a little while since I researched this, but it turns out like versus like the couple of percent of neurotypical people that like end up identifying as trans or like gender non-conforming, it seems to happen like at about a 10% rate when it comes to like people with autism. Like you'll notice a lot of like the gender nonconformity like at a young age, and like a large percentage of them will end up actually becoming trans like when they're older. Well, not becoming trans, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I don't worry. I never worry about unless I'm writing something that needs to be edited. I never worry about that particular change, that particular smoothing of language. If people understand what you're talking about, then and are not doing it in a malicious manner. I mean, correct me here and there if it keeps going. But if it's a one time, I just don't.
I just correct my language if I like catch it. You know what I mean? Like of course I don't like mean it like maliciously or anything, but like I'd rather catch those habits now and like remove them than keep them up
Yeah,
and end up like hurting what I'm fighting for. You know what I mean?
sure. Um, even coming out has its people who don't adhere to that narrative either. Um, more of the old guard than the newer guard. So,
Yeah, I've noticed that. Unfortunately, like I'm pretty like on Twitter. I catch a lot of the discourse and stuff, and like yeah, you're talking about like your Buck Angel types.
yeah, your old school. I don't use the and see now I'm being embarrassed over my own language. Your old school transsexuals um, are when it used to be transition and hide, which is always never. I think one of the reasons why I went back in the closet was because if I would there was no fucking way I was hiding. I never hid. I may be shy, I may be retiring, but I never hid.
Not, I mean, I still have like those days that I want to hide. I'll like put on like a really baggy sweatshirt or whatever, and just like do whatever. But like, also, I don't want to hide myself. I just want to be accepted for who I am, right? Like, there's no way that I can do that without like presenting like openly or anything like that. And like, of course, just looking to get those yikesy people, especially in like the when you're at a store or something. I get so anxious walking into a grocery store. But like everybody that I work with, I just recently came out of work, like has been great. my boss, whatchamacallit, was doing like this whole weird like how do you do fellow kids thing where like he was calling like everybody duder and like duderino and like all these weird things. And the day that I came out, he made an effort to stop with that rhetoric, which was great. I mean, like for the most part, like dude is kind of gender neutral to me, but like it still bothers me a little bit, you know? Like I have to like know you and
Yes.
be like close. Like you have to tell me that like it's more of a gender neutral thing for you. Otherwise, it's like, please don't.
Yeah. My ex-wife still calls me dude. So, and switched to dudette, which I'm not all that fond of either, but I'll take it.
It's a little like some people don't just like call everybody dude. You know, like he was only doing it to like the people, who, of course, like perceived male. Me being one of those people.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it depends, and it's and most people who say they use dude as gender neutral do not, and don't realize they don't, or at least that I've encountered.
It's like one of those things where like you really need to like ask somebody if they're familiar with like kind of sort of like male coded language that could be seen as like gender neutral now. Like even the word man. Like more trouble with that one than dude. But like some
Yeah.
people just call everybody man. Some people just call everybody dude. But if you're like one of those people that's like, hmm, yeah, it's everybody has like a different preference here. Like I kind of have more of a problem with like male coded language. I'm gonna go in like a circle, but like just in general to anybody watching, if you're one of those people that does that, just like ask. It helps a lot.
It does. And yeah, yeah, we the male. Oh, don't get me started on patriarchy. You want to see the 70s feminists coming out in me. So the somebody's knocking my door. Um, okay. The in general, the yeah, I started on the patriarchy. Now I can't think of anything else. God damn it.
No, it's okay. It's no fucking
I got accused of being an M. I got
patriarchy. All right, like I'm all for intersectionality. Like
I got accused of being an MRA today. So
an MRA, like a men's rights activist.
yeah,
How? Why? What?
because I'm a trans woman.
Oh,
All
so
trans,
you were
all
dealing with
trans.
turfs. Yeah. Fuck turfs. All right.
And well,
Obligatory turfs.
she says she has a lot of trans friends, and I pretty much told her she didn't. They were imaginary.
I'm friends with Blair White. Of course, I'm not transphobic.
Oh, these yeah, three names that you could say to strike in the heart of my my trans woman soul.
I had to pull out the most yikesy example to like show that like that's not always like the case. Just because you have trans friends, that doesn't mean you can't be transphobic. Just because you have a black friend doesn't mean you can't be like fucking racist.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, like what are you gonna be like friends with Jesse Lee Peterson and like claim that you're not a racist despite the fact you're pushing out white supremacist rhetoric? Like, so does Jesse Lee Peterson. He's a black white supremacist.
Beta.
Oh god, I have so much fun with that meme. I'm more of a fan of the amazing one though, not gonna lie. But because it's less. I still got a lot of dirtbag tendencies, okay? I'm working on it.
That's okay. Will I lose all my subscribers if I say I still listen to Vosh?
I watch Vosh too. Like,
Yeah.
I'll probably get canceled just for like saying that I watch ContraPoints. I don't have to like or agree with everything that they say. You know
No.
what I mean? Like
No.
criticism or criticisms do, but like they're still really good like fucking advocates for like leftist ideals.
Yeah, and there's some leftists that I can pretty much kick to the curb easily at this point, which is as far as I'll go on that.
Yeah.
Intersectionality.
Like if you're just like a class reductionist and like you put everything like based on class and like don't like tie in like intersections of like oppression and stuff, then like what's your leftism really worth?
Or if you
just educate yourself a little bit.
Or if you can't take a freaking joke once in a while.
That too. Yeah.
I mean, the trans women I subscribe to primarily women on Twitter, but we have more than 2 jokes, so I like them better. But I mean, Cursity has been being made fun of all day for today for being I'd love to get the title right, but I probably won't. But that's okay. It's
the mama bear lefty.
What's that?
Isn't she like the mama bear lefty?
No, we've got other no.
She's got out of the mama phase. Like she and I actually worked on a couple of things together. Like Christiosity's great. Like
Oh no, not Kirsty. Which is I.
Oh, you mean Christy Winters?
No. It's called her. That's her actual name online.
I was talking about Christiosity.
Oh yeah. My name is derived from Christiosity and Christy Winters.
Oh.
Actually,
that's pretty cool.
Actually, I asked Christy for permission to use it, which was a strange thing in retrospect to do, but I did. So I didn't ask Chris though. I don't know why.
Is that the other guy's name?
It's Christiosity. I just know her as Chris because we're friends elsewhere.
Oh, okay.
So I mostly know her as Chris. So
I just wasn't aware.
But
yeah, no, like Christiosity and I like worked on a couple of things.
I don't know how I didn't know that because I follow you both.
It was like just Twitter stuff. We were like pulling out information on Steve McRae, Ian Miles Chong. And,
yeah, that I stayed away from that as much as humanly possible.
I don't blame you.
And I'm glad I did in the long and short of it, because it's still a shit show. Gemma Stone is not
putting it lightly.
Gemma Stone is not Kirsty. I couldn't remember her actual name. So yeah, she wrote a fuck the cis, and you know what we're actually saying when we say that. You know,
kind of like what people actually say when they say a cab. Like you're.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I agree. I agree with Gemma. The fuck this is sometimes it just has to be. We have to say it just once in a while.
I'm not gonna use the one joke that I used in both of our last streams. Fine, I'll do it. Only the cis deal in absolutes. Yes, I know you've seen that all over Twitter. I don't care. It's funny.
I know. Yes. It's the uh. Well, other than that, do you have anything to end with? I realize I'm very. I should explain it to the other people. I'm very tired. I kind of asked Shea to carry me a little bit tonight.
I apologize. We got like as soon as my headphones died, we got on tangents, but I love it because I love talking to you. Like we were talking for like an hour before this stream. Like it's always great. I enjoy like being in your company,
Oh,
Christy. Like it's always fun. Like don't even worry about it.
it is with you too. Yes.
Things that I have to. Sorry, you do your thing.
Oh, do the things you have to plug. Now you can
Okay,
finish
yeah.
your sentence.
That's kind of where I was going. As for things to end with, love yourself, be yourself. Uh, that's really it. Fuck what everybody else thinks. You know what I mean? As for things to plug, the only thing I really got going on right now is Transgardr. It's we mostly do live streams. I'm sure at some point we're going to delve more into like educational videos and stuff like that, but we had kind of like a slow start. For a stream we did, we debunked Sargon of Akkad in his debate with Rationality Rules on what makes a woman. That was a lot of fun. It's our most viewed stream so far. Of course, second thing was an interview with you, which is a lot of fun. And we just interviewed our friend Aaliyah Kai from Nakasuchi's channel called The Rage. And we talked about her coming out as gender fluid and what her experience with that is like, and her being polyamorous as well. And I think there was a lot of like real educational points in there because for some reason a lot of people don't really understand polyamory all that well. But like it was great. What we're trying to do, of course, as I said at the beginning of this video, is try and build like a welcoming, open community for like trans people and allies. Calvin's and I's respective communities have been kind of yikesy, so we want to build like I don't want to say safe space, but like a more welcoming environment. Like there's just that connotation with that phrase, but like you know what I'm saying. We have a Discord server, and we're doing interviews, trying to raise like trans voices up, and of course we're dabbling into the reaction streams because everybody likes those. So.
I wish I could. I just can't do them.
Well, I already gave you my process earlier. Watch it like 3 different times, get past the shocked, like speechless phase, and then like work on my arguments. Like
Star Trek sounds better to me.
It's 100 times better than dealing with any yikesy like personality. In my opinion, I'd rather sometimes just sit there and like watch like cartoons or anime for like 6 hours, but also at the same time like
it's someone needs to do it, and there are other people who are better at it than I will ever be. This is not a format. This is not a format that this is not a format that a lot of people are very good at. I'm usually good at it.
I wouldn't even say that I'm good at it. Like honestly, like if I'm just being honest, I'm working on it. For some reason, people seem to enjoy listening to me like speaking like goof on people like Sargon. It's beyond me. I feel like I'm the epitome of cringe, but whatever. Like whatever floats your boat, I ain't gonna judge you. But like, we have a lot of fun over there. Like if you need a support group and stuff, just subscribe to Transgardr. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a link in the description. So
there will be a link in the description. And is the Discord an open invite or is it a closed invite?
No, it's a completely open invite. Anybody is welcome. You don't have to be trans to join. Of course, the focus is on like building like a positive community for like trans people more so. But like, if you're in a segment of the LGBTQ plus community and you need support, like we're definitely open to you. If you're an ally, and you're definitely welcome as well. We're not closed off to anyone except for fuck Nazis and fuck Turks. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
be gone in a second.
Good. Yeah, ours. Um, I'm going to close it out there. And like I said, I, I, I hope I did okay because I'm really like I said I'm really tired and Shea carried me well.
You did amazing. Like I said earlier, it's always a pleasure talking with you. I had a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
I had a grand time. I didn't want to stop talking, and it's like I figure at some point I just said we need to start recording.
I think we talked for like an hour before we started the stream, like
Yeah.
officially.
I didn't mark the time, which is why I don't know where we are now. But it's a little over an hour since we've been on, I think.
Yeah, I think we were streaming for like an hour and 25 minutes. I mean, not streaming, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. The I've got my thing. I do a thing with Sophia Christina Botha, or Rage of Botha, as she's very commonly known only by commoners. She'll love that. we do politics twice a week, which is not mostly about trans issues, which is kind of nice to have something that isn't just about trans. It's one of the reasons I'm doing the Star Trek thing. But on Sunday we also have the Fluid Voice, which is a trans channel with our token cis member, who you don't even actually see on camera. So it
That's a good owl, though. Okay.
is a good owl. Um, and I should start doing it. I need to start a Discord, because the times I want to go, I just want to hang out somewhere, and I don't want to hang out on Twitter. I want to go. And I sound like that when I talk
Join
to
the
myself.
Transgardr Discord, okay? Like if you want, we could like hop into a VC and then like just sit there, use the music bot, and just like listen to music together. We'll take turns. It's always fun.
That'd be fun. Yeah. It's a date, although you know, not that kind of date. I'm not that kind of girl.
Yeah, I know what you
Yeah.
mean.
Oh, I still am.
I wasn't like taking it like as a date thing, but like
Sorry.
if you need somewhere to go there. It's okay. I'm sure there's
Yeah.
like plenty of people there that'll like talk to you other than just me. But like I'm always
Yes.
open for like VC hangouts too, because those are fun.
Oh yeah. No, I'm teasing a little bit. I'm allowed to do
Oh,
that.
okay. See, sometimes like sarcasm just like
No, I wasn't. The reasons why I'm tired. Uh, okay, right. So I do the YouTube prayer at the end, which is, please, if you like this, give it a like, and please like it in your heart, even if you don't give it a like, which is fine with me. I'm fine. I'm slave to the algorithm, however, and comment below, subscribe if you can. There's a bell for notifications, which will give them to you in a timely manner of a week or 2 weeks later. And I have a Patreon and a Ko-fi and a PayPal. All of that stuff. You don't have to do any of that. Just listening is good praxis. Just being part of the community that we have online. Remember, your voice matters, your life matters, and you matter. Thank you to Shea one more time.
thanks for having me on.
And I'm going to start doing this in anticipation of this is going to make me actually finish this darn Star Trek stuff. So I'll do that. All right. Good night. Good night, everybody. Love. Yeah. Thank you for not